Scott Laird with D'Addario Strings, and in this video we're going to talk about delays or echoes. The term can be used sort of interchangeably. A delay or an echo is another kind of effect, special effect for electric instruments. It's very different than reverb. If reverb gives us that persistence of sound in a room, hello, persistence of sound, a delay is different because we hear a distinct repetition of the sound. Hello, 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 hello. When we think about those two differently, it really helps out because echoes or delays can happen in environments that give us the impression of space. They happen outside. If you ever yelled into a canyon, hello, hello, you hear it back. Or if you're in a huge, huge room, like a stadium, hello, hello, you'll hear it again. And those distances have a very standard mathematical number. In fact, there are some numbers that we can use. A 1,000 millisecond delay, or a delay of 1 second, gives the impression of 1,130 feet. So it gives us the impression that the listener is 1,130 feet away from the sound source. A delay of 500 milliseconds, or a half a second, gives us the impression of a delay or of a distance of 560 feet, and so on. You can do the math. And when we get into really, really short delays, it gives us the impression of being very close, but there being some kind of a separate and distinct delay of the sound's original signal to the listener. We have a few other parameters that are important. The first parameter is length. So if we can set it anywhere, most delays go up to about a second or 1,000 milliseconds, and some can be very short. There's another parameter in delays called feedback. Feedback is how much of the affected signal goes back into the system again. So let me give you an idea. If we have a feedback of 100%, the returning signal is exactly as loud. Hello, 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 and it just keeps going and going and going. A feedback of 50% cuts the volume of that original signal by 50% every time it comes back around. Hello, 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 hello. And thus the delay kind of gets less and less. It's a very natural sound, and it's the way we hear things in nature. It's quieter and quieter and quieter as it goes. That's a delay of 50%. And if we make that percentage even lower, then the second delay is significantly quieter than the original sound. So that's important to know. Length and feedback determine what a delay is going to sound like. Let me give you a few. This first one is has a feedback of 100%, and I've set it to only feedback once, and I get this really cool thing that I can play almost like a cannon with. So it hits one time. Now originally, when I first found this, I thought, hey, we used to play scales with a sort of a cannon. I wonder if that'll work. It's a really fun way to practice your scales, and it really lets us lock in to great intonation, because it has to be just right. Great way to practice scales, and it's fun. It really locks you into a rhythm and a tempo, and it's a great way to do it. We have a delay of 50%, which is more of a natural sounding delay. I use that for things that are very slow ballads that I might be able to let it be really, really wet and have a lot of echo in it. And I'll use that occasionally for something like that. A much faster delay is called a slapback. And that's a delay that we hear and then we hear it again really quite quickly. Do you hear that delay? It's really quick after the first initial sound. And that just gives us a real electric kind of sound. love a slapback delay when I'm playing in a band. That really works quite well. An even faster delay gives us something called a doubling, and it really just makes it sound like two instruments playing at the same time. And it's so fast that the human ear can't really perceive it. But you know that something's happening. And then finally, a super fast delay is called a fattening, and that just kind of, again, gives us the impression that something's different. A really cool thing. If you're playing in an environment where you can use two amplifiers and you have a stereo output from your effects processor, you can plug the left into one amplifier and the right into another, and it'll ping-pong the delay back and forth. Hello, 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 hello. And that gives a really neat stereo effect if you have that opportunity. I really recommend that you check that out. It's a really cool thing. There's lots of things that you can do with delays. But I really would recommend, if you're new to electric violin and you can get your delay set up to a second or 1,000 milliseconds, that you try that whole idea of playing sort of a canon with yourself. And you start with a major scale, and then you might try maybe a minor scale or a pentatonic scale, great way to start improvising for the first time. Start with scales, see where you go from there. Good luck as you get used to using delays, and I hope this has been some help for you.